Hello everybody and welcome to another Arkham Horror List video here at Playing Board Games. I'm Justin, joined today by Bryn and Travis, and today we're going to be talking about 8 deck building options that we want to see. The new expansion was just announced, and we have a bunch of new characters, and there's been a lot of brainstorming on the internet of what these investigators could be, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to be talking about cards that, deck building options that we want to see for future investigators. And I imagine there's going to be ways that we're going to talk about also like the design pool of the game, because it's unlikely that the designers want to have another investigators that fit into the exact same deck building option. So it's unlikely we're going to see another 0 to 5 blue, 0 to 2 seeker, and they're going to have to. I'm just some guy. I have no idea what they're going to do, so I'm excited to see what they will do because there is the potential for some cool stuff. But otherwise, we have 8 options here that we think would be fun. So, the first one we got here is keyword upgrade pools like Carolyn, for example, cards that evade. So, Travis, this is one that you thought would be cool. So, why do you think you want to see something like this?
I think it opens up like really interesting deck building options. It gives you a theme for them without shoehorning them into it. Yeah, it gives them access to like unique cards from various. Gives them access to a card pool that's hard to replicate for other investigators, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you can like sometimes play cards from all 5 colors, but like very limited ones.
Yeah.
Handcuffs.
Yeah, you could, yeah. Actually, like, on this note, too, this is something that Travis and I said while we were prepping for this, is that Carolyn is a very nice character because she doesn't just have to do healing, and it's because she has the cards that heal horror, but she also has the 15 other cards that she can play. So in this example for Evade, like, it would be cool to see that obviously not in the rogue class as their main, so it's like actually like they can play those colors, or alternatively like they are in the rogue but they have some splashes into others, because then they can play cards like sweeping kick. Like this would have been great for freaking Rita back in the day, but what also could be cool is like a non-yellow investigator that cares about cards that investigate. That could be fun, right? Like the just kind of like a scrappy, like not Sherlock Holmes, because Sherlock Holmes would definitely be a seeker. I don't know much about Sherlock Holmes, but I just know Benedict Cumberbatch played him, and so did like Robert Downey Jr. So that's all I know about Sherlock Holmes.
Basil Rathbone.
Yeah. And I suppose House was also an idea of Holmes. You get it? House, Holmes, same thing. It's very funny. Everyone laughs and everyone claps. Next one here. We have an investigator that cares about exile. So this is another one that, Travis, you had some good ideas what we were talking about before. What do you think? Why this pool for deck building?
Yeah, we don't have anything that like actually incentivizes you to play exile cards right now. It'd be neat to have an investigator who like gets to start with 5 experience or something like that, and then whenever it rewards you for playing exiled cards during a scenario. Like whenever you exile a card, you get to draw a card and get a resource, or like you exile a card. The first exiled card you play, you can like put into the victory display and have it be worth a victory or something like that. Kind of pay for itself. Something to incentivize actually playing those cards, and maybe get a couple other cards to support the archetype.
Yeah, because like Exile with Deja Vu is a fun time, but it is missing that little bit to make it just. There should be an investigator that like it's their thing and they can have a good time with it, and that means we'd also get some more support exile cards, which I think would be cool. Yeah, that'd be neat. And also, as Travis and I were saying earlier, it'd be nice to have a survivor mechanic that kind of like lasts for more than a cycle. I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
As we were joking with the Mystics, how like you only have 2 mechanics. Survivor has too many mechanics because they're such a toolbox class. So their design pool is so big in comparison. But give Rita more cards in Survivor. Let her not have to be play green cards to get advantage of it.
Yeah.
Next one here. We have an investigator that cares about rituals. Travis, this was you again. So I'm going to throw this to you again.
Yeah. rituals are just like one of the card types that has basically no support, despite there's a lot of them. And I think the only card that actually references them is Prophetic's the spirit one. Antiquary, is that one the ritual one? It's one of the TriColor
Good question.
Edge of the Earth cards.
Let me
Yeah,
look it up and try not to break the thing. It is Antiquary, yeah.
Yeah, there's a big pile of rituals, and they just don't have any support. They're just cards.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I don't think that every card type necessarily needs to have support. But like for one that's such a large part of the class, especially a class that's lacking in mechanics and focuses, it would be it seems like kind of a no-brainer to support for me.
Yeah. And on that note too, of like not every, like, while it's true not every trait needs support, like, or an investigator that cares about them, if they want to not repeat deck building options, they are going to have to get like a little bit, they're probably going to have to touch on most things, or and this is actually something that Bryn, I want to know your thoughts on it, because Travis and we basically recorded the video without recording the video earlier, which is a little bit awkward because we have to like retouch on topics. But one thing that Travis was saying, and I agree completely, would you be interested, like, what is your thought on the idea of them, instead of like releasing new investigators in future sets, like always trying to hit 5, they focused on like parallel investigators of those that already existed. Like, do you think that's better for the game? Like, do you think that the idea of investigator pools might just be a little bit too daunting to keep designing 5 new investigators every cycle, or do you think there's still a lot to go?
I think we've still got like a reasonable amount of space, like a couple of expansions for sure before things start to get tight. After that, maybe.
Yeah, one thing I've always, oh, sorry for interrupting you.
No worries. Like they definitely will have to slow down at some point, because given that we only have 5 different colors, there's a finite amount of space for that, right?
This is the ultimate Magic question. Do you think they're ever gonna at one point make a 6th color? Because I thought they would never introduce Demon Hunter into Hearthstone, but then they did one day. Could you see them making a 6th color?
I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah. I don't know what design space it would take.
Yeah, like they don't. It doesn't get. You don't get new cards that interact with any of the old, like the old content, right?
Yeah.
Because none of the old investigators will be able to play any of these cards. Although with like an LCG's release model, I suppose they could.
Yeah, they could.
They could make that happen.
Yeah, because like in all the other previous, I think if they were going to introduce a new color, they would have done it by now. And in a way, the gold cards are kind of like a new color, right? Like, because yeah, I just don't know, like, because in all the previous LCGs, they released a new color as its own box, and it was like, here's the box with this color, right? Like, and it's like only these cards. But I think it's just like, what would that class do that's different than the other classes, right? Interesting. Very interesting. What do you think, Travis, on that?
I don't think that we need any more colors. I don't think there's like a ton of design space for it, really.
Yeah. Sweet. I mean, they already got like 5 great colors. Like, I can't think of another color to add that would look good in Photoshop, right? Like, I'm already like looking at those 5 colors and I'm like, this is like all the good colors. Like, what are they gonna do? Add like brown?
Yeah.
Yeah. The resource. I actually think that the resource class. There actually there's been some custom ones that they have it, and I think it was like actually like a resource parlay class. I remember there was like a custom Charlie Kane or something. Anyways, let's get back to the topic. An investigator that cares about tools. There's a lot of tools in the game, and I would love to see an investigator that takes advantage of them. I think that this is pretty much going to be Wilson Richards, the handyman, because I don't know much about handyman except for like Tim the Toolman Taylor from Home Improvement, and he cared about tools, so it just makes sense that eventually Wilson Richards will take that spot. So this is like me also like doing my called shot here that I'd love to see.
Seems pretty fair.
Next one here is we got some restrictive TriColor Pool. So this was the idea that I had. This is like what hit me when I was falling asleep one night, because I'm like always thinking about Arkham like some sort of like cursed cultist. But I want to see, like, my example is going to be too strong, but Travis and I did think of some other ones too while we were playing. But I want to see like an investigator that, what hit me at first was like, it was like one color, like Guardian, 0-5, Rogue, only level 1, and like Survivor level 2. I just think that like it needs to be more restricted than that, obviously, but I want to see what this can do for what can happen if it's like even more like hyper focused to specific levels of cards, because that's kind of interesting to me. There's like the experience system and the level system of the cards is really cool in this game, but we don't have anything that's like really like there is, it's like level 1, but I want to see them like specifically be like, these are the level 2 cards, you can only play with those. I would love to see something that's like super restrictive like that. It would I just think that would be just neat, and yeah, that's what I want to see with that one.
Get into some, like, you can play green, purple, and blue cards, but you can only play cards that have even costs.
Yeah, like they should just do something really funky. Like I could see that being what they do for a parallel investigator one day, because word on the street is that there's no like set parallel release. They're just gonna like do them when they have ideas, which I think is obviously the best way of approaching that. But yeah, like something that's like, you can only use these colors, but you can only use even cost cards or like odd cost cards. I think it would just be
level 0, 4, and 2.
Yeah, like just I'm going to touch on this again with my one other thing I have, but I just want to specifically the TriColor Pool. I think could be neat. Travis had an idea that it was like going off mine, but it's like Guardian 0-3, Rogue 2, Survivor 1. Like, so it's like you don't get the full part of your pool, but it makes up for that by having bigger like the 3 colors, because I mean it's going to be strong, right? And you don't want to power creep away investigators that are in the smaller pools, right? But they've done pretty good, I think, for the investigators for this game, and not power creeping anybody, except for like, I don't know, the Mystics. I keep looking at some of the Mystics and I'm like, why would I play Marie Lambeau other than just to like, you know, try out the Doom thing, which I suppose is maybe her thing, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, they just haven't printed any Doom cards in forever.
It's true, yeah. All right. A Mystic that cares about skills. We're starting to get all the inklings for this, but we still have not seen this take a shape that is the actual Mystic. Like, we have Norman Withers. Even though he is a Seeker, he's actually a Mystic, and he's good with the Astronomical Atlas. But I feel like all the seeds have been planted. We just need to see the actual Mystic Investigator that cares about skills. I want it. I need it. I'm excited to try it.
Yeah, like really just anything for Mystic that isn't like spells would be cool.
Yeah. I do like, I've been playing Parallel Agnes. She feels a lot different than other Mystics. It's been really fun, but I agree. The Mystic class needs some love. That's
Some
not
variety.
just...
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just get my assets out and just start going.
Yeah.
And I think they have like some of that, like with the true magic. I think like we're starting to see a little bit of that, but I want to see more. So let's get weird with Mystics in the new cycle. And actually, I think we might, because all the investigators that were in the preview image, none of them reads particularly Mystic-y. So maybe we're going to get a less Mystic. Who knows? That'd be nice. Speaking of weird Mystics, this is Bryn's contribution, a Mystic investigator that cares about firearms. So Bryn, I'll throw this one to you.
I actually kind of just want any sort of investigator who cares about firearms, but I think a Mystic one would be pretty neat, where you could get all sorts of like enchant weapon, but not as strong, like more situational.
Yeah.
To modify your guns with, or possibly like, you know, investigators who care about one-handed firearms, in particular, because there is not a whole lot of reason to play any of them, short of I am not allowed to play blue cards.
Yeah.
And would like to fight.
Yeah, definitely. I think also what could be good for designs in the future is if they did because they kind of did it with with Preston, Joe, Diana, Patrice, and all that. Like the weird ones. Like give some other classes some have the a mystic that shoots guns, right? Like try that weird thing. Like what if part of it? I think could be really cool to see them explore. All right, last one here is blank. That's not right. That is not right. 1 second, let me fix that.
Good try, Justin. It's a good try.
It's because I loaded in Brins, but I didn't reload the whole thing. All right, last one. Just get funky with it. Just as we do on this channel, where we always keep ourselves on our toes by having the slideshows break. Just get weird. This actually kind of fits perfectly with what Bryn was saying with the odd cost cards. Just do something freaking weird. I think that would just be fun. I don't think it should be in an official product. It should be reserved for the parallel investigators where they have the room to be weird. But I want to see them get absolutely weird with it. The kind of thing that they say and then Travis cringes. That's what I want to see. Just at least once. Just
versatile investigator where you get to play oh man, you build a 30 card level 0 deck, and then whenever you get experience, you can't take cards out. You just have to add them in.
Oh, let's go.
You have to add in a card. So if you put a level 1 card in, that could be a card. But if you put a level 5 card in, you have to add that card plus 4 other level 0s.
Oh my god. This is one that because on our Patreon we were designing custom investigators, and for one of the ideas that was pitched for Bryn was basically about the deck building, and it was you get to choose any level 4 or 5 card to add to your deck, 2 copies, and then those determined your subclasses. Because I was I want an for me Bryn is the deck builder, so I wanted to give the design idea was the character is built around the fact that you can do weird random things with their deck building. I think it'd be very hard to make them as irrelevant and not rely on it too much, but it would be cool. It would be cool to see kind of something like that. That's for the deck builders out there. Just something weird and funky. This versatile investigator sounds like a nightmare, though. I love it. Yeah.
It does sound like a nightmare, yes.
Deck building options minimum decks or deck size 60 cards, but you can have 1 card from each color in your deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The rest of your deck has to be neutral cards though, so
hope you like perceptions. Manual. I'll run this manual decks just so I can draw another copy of manual decks.
Who has done this?
Sweet. Well, that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Maybe that one is parallel Lola. It's just even worse. Second verse, same as the first.
That would be really funny if they just fed us an even worse Lola.
Yeah, just this same thing, but the deck size huge, but you have to half of it has to be neutrals. There, just stay in the neutral class, idiot. That's what they'll say. Oh. Man, that'd be funny. Sweet. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We really appreciate you guys hanging out and joining us. Next week for our list videos, can you believe it's been a year since we have discussed our favorite and least favorite investigators? That means it has been a year. Travis, you've had a very busy year. I've just been sitting at home on my butt watching time fly. But we are going to be talking about our top 5 and then our bottom 5 investigators. It's our yearly tradition. We do it every May. So come join us next week and prepare to yell at me about Diana Stanley in 2 weeks. I know you love to do it. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great one. And as always, GG's.